What's going on, guys? It's Michael Gascon, the Horse Guru, and I am coming to you with a video that has been highly requested. When, why, how do you use your spurs? You notice usually I'm barefoot. Couple ground rules. For me personally, I never use spurs for forward impulsion. It doesn't make sense to me to squeeze the middle of the horse to make them go faster if it's a horse that doesn't want to go. For impulsion, for colt starting, for obstacles, for things like that, I personally like to use the dressage whip, a crop, because it allows me to put the pressure behind them and get them going forward. Not to mention, if you're on something that green and it does to give you a buck, a curl hop, a kick out, a spin, a woozy, when you grab a hold of them barefoot, it doesn't create a chain reaction, which a lot of people get into when they put spurs on horses that aren't ready to have spurs yet. For me, spurs are for the very end, the very finish point, the pinpoint, your bridleless work, your show work, your finish work. If you notice, the sports that have the most finished horses of all the sports, in my opinion, are dressage and reining. Tell me about two horse trainers that always have spurs on, dressage trainers and reining trainers. It's because they're asking for such pinpoint movement without any movement up here. They're going around at a high rate of speed, and the horse needs to be able to switch leads, and he should be able to stop, spin, slide, do all these things without showing any cues, which is kind of the opposite of the respect series and horsemanship of being very obvious and letting the horse know what we want. With that being said, I like to put spurs on when I'm finishing up a horse. My model for the day, my brother from another mother, my best man right here, this is Fanny, and Fanny is Tito's son, and I've been working with him for a couple years now, and he's really getting finished up, and I'm really looking to make him the best bridleless horse that I can. To do that, I have to make him listen to my legs 100% and not really need the bridle. So on him for a bridle, I have little bitty shanks, a very comfortable solid bit, and a cavesson, but the goal is that I'm not going to be using my hands too much. If you're starting with spurs on your horse, it's okay to use it all together. Use the reins, use everything together for the horse to understand. The manual override being the reins, which is what we use in the respect series. So by the time you even put spurs on, they should be listening to those legs, listen to the reins, listen to your legs in your seat, and now we're putting spurs on. The way this is gonna work, and you notice here, if you come in close, that's a little bitty 1-inch spur, okay? And there's all kinds of spurs, all different sizes. I don't like long spurs because I want to have movement from the time I move my foot to the time the spur gets there. The longer the rowel is, the longer the spur is, the less movement you have of your foot, and that's the point of them. For me, I like to have a little spur, a little 1-inch spur, so that the horse feels as I'm tightening up my thigh, tightening up my calf. I still have my toe pointed up. I'm putting my lower leg on him, and now when I point my toe down, that spur touches him. Very quickly, I'm not gonna have to touch him with my spurs. He knows that I have them, and he doesn't want to get touched with them. So first thing that I want you to understand is that horses move, especially when they're finished, away from pressure and to the void. So whenever we're working younger horses, we're always looking where we're going and we're looking where we're going, and we're stepping in our stirrup, and we're taking our rein and our leg off of the horse. On the opposite side, our neck rein, our outside rein, and our leg get put on the horse, like so. As the horse gets more finished and more refined, you want to just be able to hold the reins in one place, and now both legs are on my horse, nice and relaxed right beside him. As the left stirrup comes off, he feels that void and he goes that direction. Whenever I close it, he knows to go straight. Open my left leg, he goes left. Close my left leg, he goes straight. And I will put my eyes and get a visual aid to the door, close my leg, he knows to go straight. So even though he's a neck-reined horse, I am not doing any neck reining. My hand is staying at home, and it's just my legs talking to him. Through all this conversation, my spurs really aren't touching him. Another thing that your spurs can be used for is, now I'm not able to flex him and bend him and work him because we're getting ready for a show, so I want him to put his head down. I can start teaching him that when I put my legs on him and start curling around and touching his belly, that I want him to put his head down. So he's trotting around here, like so. Both legs are completely relaxed. I'm not holding my legs off of him. A couple pointers. You want, whenever you have spurs, you're more aware that you keep your toes pointed forward, as opposed to, for me in particular, my toes point outward naturally. So I had to make a conscious decision when I started putting spurs on to keep my toes in line with my horse so my spurs aren't pointing towards my horse. As I'm trotting and cantering big horses, I keep a little weight in my stirrup to keep them from bouncing all around. I want to have a calm, quiet lower leg when I'm wearing spurs. Now, whenever the horse, I'm asking him, especially at higher rates of speed or things that he doesn't want to go towards, when I take this leg off, now I'm going to start wrapping my thigh, my calf, and he's going to get there. He's not going to let me reprimand him. Even when I'm putting my lower leg, say my Achilles on him, notice how my toe is still pointed upward. And then the last thing would be to touch him with the spur and to look for a little bit more try. Hope. Notice even when I put a spur on him, he wasn't excited about it. He didn't jump out of his skin about it. I want the horse to be not scared of my spur, because you don't want them to be scared of your legs. That's what I say. I never use my spurs for forward impulsion. What I mean by that, I never get a horse that doesn't want to go forward. I never look to put spurs on to make them go forward, because spurs for me are just for pinpointing and controlling body parts. So if I want him to just trot off, my legs are straight and square here, and I'm going to ask him to trot. Now when my right leg goes forward, my left leg goes back, he knows that we're about to canter, and he just canters right off of my legs. Because my spurs are uneven, my left leg's further back, so his hips over to the right. Because again, when I ask him to stop, whoop, take the spurs off. When I ask him to move his body parts to certain ways, and we're going to do classes on how to move each of those body parts, but it's very simple. The horse moves away from pressure, and hopefully if your horse is broke, they move towards a void. So what that means is he knows that I'll pressure him if he doesn't go where I want. So when I take this leg off, he's already thinking, hey, that leg came off of me, I better go in that direction. If I'm riding forward, both legs are on him to make him go forward. When my legs come off of him, he says, oh, your legs are off of me, both of them, I should be stopping. And they're not coming back to me, so I should be backing. So notice without me adding any extra anything, he just keeps backing until I ask him to stop. Imagine how easy it is to make a bridleless horse, and he's well on his way to being that bridleless horse, if he understands the concept of, okay, this is how we're going to steer. If a leg comes off, go that direction, ho. If the leg comes back on, if both legs are on, go straight. If one leg comes off, that's your opportunity. The next thing that's going to happen is this leg, and ultimately that spur is going to come on. When this leg comes off, start turning, start turning. When that leg shuts on you, that means go straight again. If you go with this very straightforward, very simplistic ideology of how to steer your horse and guide your horse around, you can get very, very advanced with your horse. And I've been working all bridle work and haven't really been working his bridleless. But to give you an idea, we're just going to see how it's going to work. So I'm just light squeeze there. Right there, I take my right leg off. Both legs are on him. Spurs are right beside him. And he's just not worried about those spurs because he knows that I'm guiding him. He knows that I'm directing him. Sometimes when people ride with spurs, they want to keep their legs off all the time. Well, then the horse will have a real reaction. If you have a problem, back, back, leg off means go that way. Then if he doesn't listen, then I'm going to start bumping him with my calf here. Notice how my toe is pointed upward. My toe's pointed upward, my toe's pointed upward. If I need more speed, hey, I drop my toe. When I drop my toe, that picks up my spur. It takes a little I come from a world that we never used spurs because we were on hot show horses. I feel like there was a part of my life I wasted because I didn't have the education of spurs. And now that I found them, I never want to go back because it gets the communication of guiding so refined and so easy that that's really what you're looking for, is how little can you do and how much can your horse do for you. So if you can do that, get the trot, my right comes back, ask for the canter. All right, take my legs off, Good boy. If I want to turn towards you guys, again, both of my legs are laying right beside him. When I want to come to you, the first thing that happens is my eyes come to you in that direction. The second thing that happens is this left leg comes off. The third thing that happens is my right leg comes on. And if you see, whenever I want to guide straight to you, both legs are on. Oh, both legs are off, he stops. If you can use this for your straightforward ideology of using spurs, it does not have to get more complicated than that, and you can get as advanced as you want to. Whether you want to do reining, whether you want to do dressage, whether you want to do bridleless, you can do anything if you keep your cues that simple, and you transition from manual override being all the reins to, hey, I'm going to give you warnings, I'm going to look the direction I'm going, I'm going to touch you with my rein, I'm going to touch you with my leg. That's a good intermediate. And then the last thing is where you can just talk to him through your spurs. And really, my spurs have touched him only whenever I told you that I was going to touch him with my spurs. But he did nothing to really need a spur. Still, the spurs are how I'm going to communicate to him. If you can do that, you'll be so amazed of how refined you can get your horse. Guys, thank you so much. That's why and where I use my spurs, and I'll see you in the next video.